things, because I haven't gone completely through all of like Daniel Pink's work, or all of I've gone into some of Alfie Kohn's work, but not a great deal. But that taught me a few things. That was a great talk. Ben McLeish obviously gave a talk about the concept of culture lag, and how we've moved out of different things that we know to be inefficient or just completely wrong. There was a couple of short films, I think 1 or 2 short films about logical fallacies and critical thinking. That was interesting. That was actually made by, I can't remember his name, but he's one of the guys who films the events for the London chapter. But yeah, that was a great talk. I can't wait for. I think that's already up on YouTube. I think so. I'll have to put a note of this in the video description or whatever. But yeah, there was also a talk. There was a musical interlude by Jay. He goes by the name of Jay Groovara on Facebook, and he was doing some improvisational musical comedy on the acoustic guitar during the event. That was funny. He'd ask people to just shout out suggestions on things that he will just improvise a song on. It was amazing. But there was also I'm probably missing out. Oh yeah, Jim Phillips. Yeah, so how could I forget Jim? Sorry, dude. Jim Phillips did a very interesting presentation where he just explained on, right, and you can listen to and download all the audio for these lectures. Actually, sorry, I should have mentioned this. If you go to I can't remember the exact web address, but just type into Google London Z-Day SoundCloud, and you'll find that there's a link. I think it's through Facebook, saying that all the lectures are up on SoundCloud. But you can find them there. But yeah, Jim Phillips did an interesting talk about. He was basically just talking to us like we were children, and just in a very simple manner explained what the solutions are and the reason why it's not being done because of the current system of money. Just no need for an explanation of fractional reserve banking and all the ins and outs of the political system or anything like that. It's not talking about any problems. It's only talking about solutions, right? And that's how you present a resource-based economy to children, or to anyone really. If you think about it, you don't focus on the problems, you focus on the solution. But yeah, there's that, and also Raoul Reynolds, the front man of Enter Shikari, one of the UK's most popular hardcore rock bands. He gave a talk as well about music's role in social change and social cohesion, and that was a fucking awesome talk. I think the video for that might be up somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure. But I know the audio for it is up on SoundCloud, so you can download that there. But yeah, there was also my friend Michael Green. I'll give a plug for Michael as well. He had a TV that he was raffling, because basically Michael does this thing where he doesn't just do it on TVs. He's also used industrial wooden cable spools to paint these designs up. But yeah, he basically just paints these cool designs and pictures and images that show how things can be and how they currently are as well, in an abstract. It's it's really, really cool. But yeah, he was raffling off one of the TVs that he'd painted. He'd actually transported the TV to the event by using a pram, which was awesome. Seeing a grown man push a pram with a TV in it. It was interesting. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a really, really good event, and also, because Jim Phillips was there, Jim Phillips has the Venus Project presentation slide exhibition, so we had that in one of the separate rooms. We had T-shirts for sale, copies of the Zeitgeist Movement Defined for sale, which is where I bought my copy. But so it's a thick book. But it's pretty good, But yeah, that was Z-Day. Because it finished so late, I wasn't able to hang around very often, and also because because the whole thing of the fact that we have to pay for I had a return ticket. I didn't have an open return because part of my journey was using the underground, so I couldn't get an open return. It's just a fact of public transportation that it runs on a certain schedule, and even though the trains are probably the ones that run the latest, they still have a limit to how late they run. But anyway, there's that. But that was Z-Day. I left the event feeling completely exhilarated, driven to do more things, and that's one of the reasons why I really, really, really try to hang out with TZM activists as much as I possibly can, because then I can learn things from them. I learn so much from my discussions with TZM activists. I probably learn a little bit more from TZM activists than anyone else, actually. I'd say that TZM activists probably teach me more than most people do. With the exception of actual experts in fields such as, astrophysics, microbiology, any of those kind of fields. If they're experts, they can teach me more than the average activist, whose field isn't necessarily in the, speciality isn't necessarily in those fields. But anyway, I wanted to move on now to the final topic that I'm going to discuss, which is information stalls. And this is the reason why this podcast was a day late, because the day that I was supposed to upload this, I was actually doing an information stall. So I wanted to gain another set of fresh information about the information stall experience, so I can then share it with you guys. Because there are things that I twigged on today that I wouldn't have known if I'd completed this podcast before I even left. So I'd be saying, I want to add that into the podcast now, and I'd have to do a separate thing. It kills two birds with one stone, is what I'm saying. But information stalls, just to give a preface of why I'm actually specifically wanting to cover this topic, is because information stalls is a method of street activism that has been suggested to me recently by a few really cool activists, in pulling in public interest and engaging in the public and bringing in new blood. And I think so far what I've done is I've done just that. In fact, there's someone who's actually asked to join the Maidstone chapter and also sent me a friend request. So, don't don't you think that maybe that's having some sort of effect, you know? But that aside, because basically the reason why I've had to start thinking of injecting new blood into my chapter is because it's not an official chapter. It hasn't really got off its feet because it's mainly just me running around doing things, and I can't do everything, even though I am the coordinator, so I have to. Well, I haven't got anyone. I do have to do everything because I've got no one to delegate to. So, but yeah, I'm sort of like playing coordinator for the Brighton chapter as well. But there has been a guy on there that's suggested meetings, like maybe once a month or something, and I've just said to him, well, you know what? Awesome idea. Awesome. Get going. Crack on, mate. Organise it. Because if you suggest it, then it's on you to set it in motion. Kudos to Jen Wilding for reminding me of that little gem of activism. Because it's one thing that really does, make you think, oh yeah, that is a good point. It's the sort of thing where it's essentially saying put up or shut up. Don't suggest something if you don't intend to put it into motion, or at least contribute to it. Because there's quite a lot of activists. Sorry to go on a tangent here, but there's so many activists who come to meetings and they sit there. You've seen these kind of people. They sit there. They look interested. Maybe some of them look a bit bored, and they're the ones who suggest, you know what, we should be doing this. We should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And how much of what they suggest are they actually doing? None. They're not doing any of the things they're suggesting. They're just telling people, other people, and they direct, when Q&As open up, they start, making demands about what the people who are coordinating things should do, and we just respond with, "Hey, that's a great idea. Crack on, mate. Do it." You can't rely on us to do it for you. You need to set this in motion. That's the thing about having a leaderless holographic setup to a social movement. There's no, the only hierarchy, if you even want to call it that, is different voluntary roles that people choose to undertake for themselves. The role of coordinator that I have chosen for myself. Other people can become coordinators along with me. In fact, if enough people want to be coordinators, I'll just leave it to them. That leaves me so much more time to do other things, and it would free me up if someone else coordinated the Maidstone chapter. If I knew they were going to do it well, then I would stay in the chapter. But anyway, it's the strains of being a one-man army, is what I'm saying. But anyway, but I've noticed because there is a limited interest in the Maidstone. Well, there's a limited active interest in this train of thought in regards to always attending meetings or events, especially if they're right on your doorstep, which there's no excuse. I have to commute to Maidstone. Some of you guys only need to walk down the road. But yeah, I've noticed a waning interest, feigning interest, whatever, a dwindling interest in the events that I've been holding. And it's partly because I've been doing just closed door events, and that's this is one thing that I can't remember the guy's name, but it's on the One Planet Project website. There's a video that's so it's like a public awareness approach, and it's very interesting talk on how if you just focus on closed door events, then you're not really bringing in many people. But if you do public events, like for example, just leafleting or just talking to people on the street, or having like a marquee where people come and there's people can sit. Like one of the things that I would love to do, I would bloody love to do this, right? Is create a sort of environment where people can sit down and chat about things. I mean, when I finally get a car, because I'm hopefully going to be getting a car in a few months, brand new car. Well, not brand new car. It'll probably be second hand, because I haven't got that much money. Only a teeny bit. I am working, but yeah, so people who tell me get a job, I say, what makes you think I don't have a job? I have 2 jobs actually. But yeah, one of the, I'd love to be able to just like have a table, a marquee. I'll have to, because I've helped out friends like setting up marquees, so I know. And I know it's possible, but those things are huge and heavy. But I want to create but I'd at least be able to get a table and a few chairs in there, right? Maybe find a parasol if it's sunny. But I'd love to just create an environment where people can just chat about things. I mean, I'm thinking of bringing my soapbox into it as well, because I am actually making a soapbox. Well, technically it's a stage that just looks like a box, but I'm hopefully going to be getting that. But I've been finding sitting on a camping chair very comfortable, and I don't want to be sitting on a wooden box instead. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing in that regard. It would have to be something for theatrical effect, to make it a theatrical performance instead of just a chilled out, communication. But I'm getting off the point. The information stalls that I've had to be doing have been pretty productive actually. So, but it's just the fact that there's not many people. As I said, I'm a one-man army, so I'm having to carry all the equipment to do the stall myself. I basically just use a bridge table with a big sign on the front saying, "Ask me about a resource-based economic model," and 2 smaller signs on the side of the bridge table that both say the same thing: "Are you sick and tired of worrying about money?" And I basically, have my copy of the Zeitgeist Movement Defined. I also have a copy of Robots Will Steal Your Job, But That's Okay by Federico Pastono. And I have a series of leaflets and DVDs that I give people for free. And I also I basically just sit behind that table, and sometimes I get out the megaphone and say a few things. So, I mean, one thing I'd love to do, actually, depends how long I've been talking for, 40 minutes or so. I'd love to include some of the audio of some of the things I said on the megaphone, because I took a continual audio recording. But yeah, those have actually been, quite productive. I've been talking to a few people. I've had people add me on Facebook because of it. But where did I start out with information stalls? Well, I actually started out pretty damn quickly with information stalls. It was back in, I think it was the summer of 2010, and me and my friend Michael. who and another Michael, not the guy who does art, sustainable art, but his name's Michael White. He now lives in the Netherlands, the lucky fucker. But yeah, I mean, he can grow his own weed there, man. Seriously. Making me jealous. But yeah, basically, he used to live in Maidstone, where I started out, and it was actually me and Mike actually met at a party, and I, as part of the music for the party, I played, there's a video on YouTube. I think it's called Zeitgeist Imagine, and it's basically a video of the song Imagine by A Perfect Circle, obviously the John Lennon cover. But halfway through, it fades to a sort of compilation of Jacques Fresco talking on the Larry King Show in 1974. And then after he does that, it comes back into the last chorus, and then the song finishes up. But I was playing that, and Mike actually recognised it, and I'm like, "Oh, are you familiar with the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist Movement?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, yeah, I love that stuff." And instantly we clicked. We had awesome friendship, and we also did events. We did we basically held an information stall. Because the thing is, we had this square garden table, and it was pretty damn awesome. So I'm going to have to look at garden furniture for my information stall. Because instead of using a bridge table, I want to actually have like a proper table that I can put a banner on the front of. But yeah, there's that. But yeah, we had like long garden table, and we actually painted. It was basically a painting of the Zeitgeist Movement logo, and back then it was like the long phrase, the Zeitgeist Movement, in front of a globe, and that was painted on there. That was awesome. But yeah, we had that, and we'd set that up in Moat Park in Maidstone, and we'd give out DVDs, we'd give out leaflets, we'd talk to people, and it was a wonderful partnership of mutuality and respect. And we'd also bring other people to hang out at the stall and talk about things, and it was nice because it was sunny. We were in a park, I think I probably need to take my information stall back to Moat Park, actually, maybe instead of the High Street. Even though in Moat Park I won't be able to use my megaphone, or at least I don't think I should, because it's a park. People want to chill out, the kids want to play. They don't want to be talked at by a crazy guy with a megaphone. But yeah, I mean, we did that for a few months. We did that every Saturday, actually. Every Saturday we did that, and that went on for a while. But unfortunately, Mike moved away, so we couldn't do that anymore. But that was awesome, that was because there were two of us who are willing to devote an afternoon to hanging out and talking about a sustainable way of living, and talk to people who are already chilled out as well. We just put our stall on the side on a grass verge, like that's in front of one of the main paths that people walk through on their way in and out of the park. Well, it's not on the entrance. It's actually in the park itself. People are walking through and actually see it. They go, "Oh, what's this about?" And they're like, "Oh, right, it's about the Zeitgeist Movement. Have you ever heard of the Zeitgeist Movement? No? Would you like to know?" Well, it's a grassroots sustainability advocacy movement. Because obviously this was back in 2010, so the Zeitgeist movement was the activist arm of the Venus Project back then. So, we talked to them about the Venus Project, and we'd focus on the solutions that the Venus Project proposes. And when people sort of like bring up things to discuss, we'd also talk about the problems of the monetary system, or sometimes we would lead with the problems of the monetary system and how that doesn't work. So what can work? Well, what does work is hydroponic agriculture to grow food. What does work is geothermal energy for generating electricity. What works is desalination for providing drinking water. All these things, we have these systems in place. We need to. The reason why they're not implemented full scale is because the monetary system would be threatened, because industries that exist to serve those problems, companies that make money from servicing a problem by producing a patchwork solution, something that doesn't solve the root of the problem, it just attacks the symptoms, and it provides remedies for the symptoms. That's what keeps the system going. And we talk to people like that, and it was really, really interesting because it was a chilled out environment. No one was in any rush to go anywhere. The reason why, you don't go into a park to be in a rush. That is unless you're having a jog or a run or whatever. But generally you go to a park to chill out, and any discussions you have in that kind of environment are probably, or most probably, going to be lower stress, lower need to, argue, no thoughts of, we got to go to war, we've got to go to the bank now, got to pay that check in, got to pay our mortgage. No, you're going to a park to chill out. And part of that's part of the reason why some of the people wouldn't want to talk to us, because they're like, God, I just came here to chill out, I don't want to talk. In that case, they don't come over and talk, and we don't talk to them. But, we both do what we want to do. But yeah, that was an interesting experience. Also, what other information stalls I've done? Well, back when the Brighton chapter was actually active, we used to do a few. Information stalls near Pavilion. I think it's Pavilion Gardens, near to the. It's near that building that looks like the Taj Mahal. But yeah, we did quite a few information stalls there, because this was back when Christopher was actually active, because I think he's gone off the radar now. I don't know what he's up to. I should try and get in contact with him at some point and just say, hey dude, how you been? Because I haven't spoken to him in years. Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I go to edit this, I'm going to be reminded of this, and I'll send him a message, because I haven't spoken to him for ages, so I should ask him how he is. But yeah, he brought all the materials, like the tables. We had sandwich boards. We were giving away leaflets. We're even giving away badges. That was how awesome we were in Brighton. We were giving away badges that we had made for, with the Zeitgeist Movement logo on them and the Venus Project logo on them. But yeah, it's a shame that the Brighton chapter died down a bit, because that was an interesting experience. There's videos, There's a couple of pictures on Facebook actually of like a Brighton chapter meeting where there's like 15 or I don't know, about 16 or 17 people there, and that's pretty damn awesome for a chapter meeting. But no, it's all died down now, and and I'm the one who's basically trying to help resurrect it, along with one or two other people who are contributing every now and then. But the guy who said that he was going to start meetings, I'm just like, awesome.